The holidays are here, and so is the perfect way to bless your loved ones. The Crosswalk Holiday Gift Guide has something for everyone on your list. The team at Crosswalk has handpicked the best devotionals, picture books, middle grade fiction, and adult fiction, so that you can spend less time buying and more time giving to those you love most. So stuff these stories into your stockings and celebrate the wonder of reading this Christmas. Want our gift guide? Visit crosswalk.com/gift guide today.
Life Audio.
The Bible Study Podcast, episode 942. Today, the Bible Study Podcast continues a study of the book of Luke as we continue on with chapter 13. Welcome to the Bible Study Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Christensen. We're going to continue on with Jesus heals a crippled woman on the Sabbath. But first, a word from this sponsor.
There's no way around it. When it comes to healthcare, people are really frustrated with how much it costs and how to pay for it. The usual ways we've been doing this have only gotten more expensive, more complicated, and honestly, just aggravating. And that's why Medi-Share is such a welcome relief. It's called healthcare sharing. It's different, and it works. More than 1 million Americans are now doing this, and Medi-Share has been a great option for more than 30 years. So really, you could save thousands of dollars a year on your health care and be happy. Imagine that. If you've heard about it and you want to know more, there are 2 easy options. Go to Medishare.com/study. That's Medishare.com/study. Or just grab your phone and send a text. You'll get the info, which could really help you and your family out. Text the word STUDY to 70246 to get the facts. Text STUDY to 70246 and you'll get the link. That's STUDY to 70246.
Americans have a big healthcare problem. Over 100 million U.S. citizens carry medical debt. But that's not the whole story. With health insurance, your out-of-pocket and monthly costs are way too high. You get surprise bills, denied claims, and poor customer service. That's a serious burden. As Christians, we don't have to pay for a broken system. Christian Healthcare Ministries is an alternative to health insurance at half the cost. You can enroll at any time and join a proven, faith-based solution that's both reliable and affordable. CHM isn't just help, it's financial and spiritual support when you need it most. Families across the country count on CHM to step in during their hardest moments, and it works. Stand up to health insurance with a low-cost, biblical solution. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. That's chministries.org/wellness.
Continue on. Luke 13, verse 10. On a Sabbath, Jesus was teaching in one of the synagogues, and a woman was there who had been crippled by a spirit for 18 years. She was bent over and could not straighten up at all. When Jesus saw her, he called her forward and said to her, "Woman, you are set free from your infirmity." Then he put his hands on her, and immediately she straightened up and praised God. Indignant because Jesus had healed on the Sabbath, the synagogue leader said to the people, "There are 6 days for work, so come and be healed on those days, not on the Sabbath." The Lord answered him, "You hypocrites! Doesn't each of you on the Sabbath untie your ox or donkey from the stall and lead it out to give it water? Then should not this woman, a daughter of Abraham, whom Satan has kept bound for 18 long years, be set free on the Sabbath day from what bound her?" When he said this, all his opponents were humiliated, but the people were delighted with all the wonderful things he was doing. Now, we believe that Jesus probably healed all 7 days of the week, and Jesus' understanding of the Sabbath is a little different from those of the Pharisees and the synagogue leader here. His understanding of the Sabbath, and he says it elsewhere, is that the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. That we were told to take it easy. We're told not to work on the Sabbath because it was good for us. It was good to have that break. It's good to have that recreation, that recreation, that time off from work. And so if the point of the Sabbath is that it's good for us, Jesus doesn't have any problem doing good on the Sabbath. But so many of the stories of him healing here in Luke are done on the Sabbath because those are the ones that are memorable. Right? It's like the news. You don't write a front page article about all of the planes that land safely, even though most of them do. You write about the one problem, the one car crash, the one airplane disaster. You write about the things that are unusual or controversial. And so Luke covers more often than not Jesus healing on the Sabbath. He doesn't deal with Jesus healing on Tuesdays because that was not remarkable. And so this woman comes. She doesn't apparently ask to be healed. They're in the synagogue. He's teaching, and there's a woman there. And it says Jesus saw her and called her forward. So she was in the back where the women are, not asking for anything. She did not come to be healed, as far as we can see from the story on the Sabbath, even though that's what the synagogue leader sort of accuses her of. Why did you come on the Sabbath to be healed? She probably came to hear Jesus, or she came just because she comes every Sabbath. But Jesus, again, and the synagogue leader have a different understanding. And Jesus says, you're a hypocrite. You treat your donkey better than this woman, even though it's Sabbath. You would untie your donkey and take it out to water. This woman has been bound. She's been tied up, and I have freed her. Isn't that the same thing that you would do for your animal? It goes on. The parables of the mustard seed and the yeast. Then Jesus asked, what is the kingdom of God like? What shall I compare it to? It is like a mustard seed, which a man took and planted in his garden. It grew and became a tree, and the birds perched in its branches. Again he asked, what shall I compare the kingdom of God to? It is like a yeast that a woman took and mixed into about 60 pounds of flour until it worked all through the dough. So Jesus talks about the kingdom of God and says it's like these two things, a seed and yeast. And what do we know about seeds? Now, I don't know this particular mustard seed that grows into a tree. I'm used to mustard growing into a plant, but this could easily be another seed. What is significant about seeds? They start small and they grow into big things. They start seemingly insignificant, but they can be a big deal. Even the largest redwood tree may have come from a seed. And Jesus says the kingdom of God is like this. And I think the kingdom of God is like that in our lives, where it may start small, our faith. Our faith may start with what we understand, what we believe. It may start as a childlike faith. It may start in us as a child, but it can grow and become significant, noteworthy. And then he also then compares it to yeast. What's different about yeast? If you have flour and water and sugar and all of that, and you throw it in together, what do you end up with? You end up with tortillas, right? You end up with something very flat, a flatbread. But that yeast, that little something, and it doesn't have to be that much, can change the whole thing into a loaf of bread, right? Just that little something can make a big change. And it's not that it itself grows into this, but it affects it. And in the same way, I think, our faith that may start small should affect more and more and more and more of our lives and the lives of those around us. Faith is intended to be something that makes changes, like yeast makes changes, that makes things better for us and for those around us. Is your faith doing that? Is mine? And then Jesus goes on and says, the narrow door. Then Jesus went through the towns and villages, teaching as he made his way to Jerusalem. Someone asked him, "Lord, are only a few people going to be saved?" He said to them, "Make every effort to enter through the narrow door, because many, I tell you, will try and enter and will not be able to. Once the owner of the house gets up and closes the door, you will stand outside, knocking and pleading, 'Sir, open the door for us.' But he will answer, 'I don't know you or where you come from.' Then you will say, 'We ate and drank with you, and you taught in our streets.' But he will reply, 'I don't know you or where you come from. Away from me, O you evil doers.' There will be weeping there and gnashing of teeth. When you see Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and all the prophets in the kingdom of God, but you yourselves thrown out, people will come from the east and the west and north and south, and will take their places at the feast in the kingdom of God. Indeed, there are those who are last who will be first, and the first will be last." So the question that Jesus asked here is everybody going to be saved, or is it just going to be a few? And I would assume that the person was kind of saying, is it just going to be a few of us? Because that's usually the way we ask the question. I know I'm going to be saved, but is there going to be anybody else? Because many of us are fairly confident in our own righteousness. And Jesus says it's a narrow door. It says that it's going to be hard. And that at some point, that door closes. Now, that door may close for us because our life has run out, or it may close for us because something has come, Jesus has come again, or some large event that has happened. But for all of us, there's a limited opportunity. And he describes the people who were caught on the outside when the door closes. They missed the opportunity. It was open, they were there, and it closed. And they're saying, "Hey, open up for us. We ate and drank with you. You taught on our streets. We know who you are." But the householder, the owner of the house, God, I think in this case, doesn't recognize them, doesn't know where they come from, and calls them evil doers. So in this parable, the idea here is there's the narrow, there's the limited opportunity, and that somehow being an evildoer is keeping these people out. And it says there'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Gnashing of teeth is a great act of regret. I could have made it. It could have been me if I hadn't. That's what gnashing of teeth is. My understanding is we have all these pictures of hell that are fire and brimstone and all these things, but I see it here in these verses most clearly. It's left out. It's the ultimate FOMO. Whether there's anything unpleasant about it other than that, it's the ultimate fear of missing out. Is your time came, you had the chance and you didn't make it. And it describes when you see the Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and the prophets in the kingdom of God, but you yourself thrown out, and then all these other people who will be welcomed. That's hell. When we have turned our back on God and he lets us, and we end up on the outside. Make the most of every opportunity, because we don't know how long we have. With that, we're going to end this episode of the Bible Study Podcast. If you have any questions, send an email to chris2x@gmail.com, or better yet, leave a comment on this episode at thebiblestudypodcast.com. And as always, thanks so much for listening. I want to take just a second to thank the team at Life Audio for their partnership with us on this podcast. If you go to lifeaudio.com, you'll find dozens of other faith-centered podcasts in their network. They've got shows about prayer, Bible study, parenting, and more.
Hey, Ted, what do you want to do today?
Well, Ashley, I've always got work to do, naps to take. But I have a better idea. How about we invite everyone to listen to the Team Us podcast?
I love that idea. Let's do it right now. Hi, everyone. We're Ted and Ashley Slater, and we'd love for you to join us as we talk about teamwork in marriage.
We share how grace, commitment, and cooperation can help couples live the everyday moments of marriage together.
To listen, go to lifeaudio.com and search for Team Us.